This has made international headlines.
Here we
Actually,
go.
there was
Your boy.
I guess the inauguration. It's not fully complete, this temple, but they've Narendra Modi's already done the inauguration of the Ayodha Temple. That in India, which drew the celebrities, drew the cricketers.
Yep.
It drew everyone there.
Yep.
And it made international headlines, and it was celebrated internationally as well amongst the Hindu community across the world. And yeah, it was a big thing. But it's a little bit controversial in the sense that, obviously the history of that area, especially the site there, it was built upon. Now I have to be careful here. It was built upon. So in the 1990s, in the 1990s, there was a mosque there, and that mosque had been there since the Mughal era, so 500 years. And it was there for a while, and there was a lot of calls for that place to be redeveloped into a temple by the then obviously the same party as the Narendra Modi, the BJP, and there was riots in the 1990s, really violent riots that shocked the whole nation, where the temple got destroyed, the mosque got destroyed. Hindus would say actually that this is that mosque was built on the land of where Ram was built. Ram was born, so it's very sacred to them, and it's just they've got that land back, and now it's something that that they're celebrating a lot. And it's interesting that Narendra Modi has really pushed this. So in 2019 is when. Because that land had, since the 90s, since it got completely destroyed, that mosque, the land has been sort of given to both Hindus and Muslims.
Yeah.
In 2019, there was a Supreme Court decision where it got given to the Hindus.
Okay.
And then the Muslims were given a land away from, just on the outskirts of Ayodhya, where they can build a mosque. It is a bit controversial, right, in the sense that people are saying that Modi has used this for the elections that are coming up. So he's.
But this would have been approved a while ago, though, right?
So in 2019, it was approved, and that's when they started construction. Or
it's just that it's built now.
It's built now to a level, and not completely, but he's enough to inaugurate it.
Yeah.
It's become a pretty hot topic in India in the sense that, is this Modi trying to use this for his elections? Is it a political stunt? But a lot of people across the world, and I have personally, my wife's Hindu, and she's told me it's more of the fact that it's a great celebration for their religion, because that is the birthplace of Ram.
Yeah,
and people are more celebrating that there's a place like that that they can go to.
Yeah,
because this is going to be a tourist destination.
Yeah, as
well. That's the main thing as well. And yeah, we'll just have to see what happens to this. What are your thoughts? What do you think?
Yeah, I think when it comes to
sensitive subject,
it is. When it comes to building religious temples and stuff like that on grounds where you have two major religions, Israel has all of that sort of issues as well. It gets really tense depending on who you speak to. But I guess the intentions behind it we will never know. Obviously, coincidental that it's close to an election there, but I think as long as the intent was for the right sort of reasons and the outcome is for a positive thing as well, as long as those boxes are ticked, which it feels like it's ticked, I think no harm, no foul, if that makes sense. But like you said, when you go down that rabbit hole of religious sites and stuff like that, especially between the Hindus and Muslims, it can get a bit tense like that. But I think overwhelmingly, at least in the Western online. Media, I'm looking at the comments and stuff like that. People are just happy with it as well. But there's no doubt that there'd be a group that wouldn't share the same sort of sentiments. And I think at the end of the day, we've just got to understand that
and then
as a group of people, we're never going to 100% agree, right?
It does sort of the idea that India is a secular country, right?
Yeah.
And there's an 80% Hindu majority, and there's 20%, or not 18-90% Muslims and Christians and Sikhs, and they're all there. You know? So it's just it doesn't help the fact of Modi's sort of like, there's a sort of reputation that he has, right?
Yeah.
And you just sort of wonder whether that, like, that could end up being a good move for him in the election, or if it's a bad move.
Well, if the majority,
If it's majority,
Hindus,
that
like,
it would most likely be like and maybe an election saving move, right? But
I would say if the majority are Hindus anyway, then like no, you're right. Like I can see it.
I saw a lot of interviews of like a lot of Muslims being hurt by it as well.
Yeah.
They were like, they're probably. I mean, to be honest, he could have gone forward in a way that sort of included everyone.
As in what, 2 temples? Or like split
Not 2
the
temples,
land
but like maybe including some of the Muslim community to, at least accept it, or like just like sort of say like, this was this side, but like, we've got your side as well. We respect both, and going forward, there's a different way it could have been done, right?
Yeah.
Instead, like, he invited a lot of Bollywood celebrities, a lot of cricketers to come along, and
isn't that the Indian?
which is
I'm
fine.
just saying you have like the pompous
fine,
and the
like,
ceremony.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, those guys are going to go, and then what's going to be left there is the local community, right?
Which is what you're saying, majority Muslim.
I would have liked if they like all religions are sort of involved in that.
Yeah,
because it is a big thing. It's big thing for the Hindu religion, and I respect that. But like, it would have been more better to go forward with everyone, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, the only counterpoint I say to that is like, if it's been decided and it's out of your hands as like a Muslim leader, and that, like, how would you convince them to be okay with it?
That's a tricky situation.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if one advocate says yes, and it decides to be that front forward face in the media. They're gonna get lambasted. Like, you're never gonna win, and we saw that in the voice vote. Remember, you had Aboriginals against it, and then you had people thinking, "How are you against it? Like, isn't this for you?" And that's what I mean. Like, it's just always going to be complicated. It's
a big day for India.
It is
a big day for India, and like is a big day for a lot of my Hindu friends there. So it's actually sort of united the country in a sort of way as well.
As long as it brings positivity when people come to the country.
And to me, I'm interested in the tourism aspect as well.
There's
a lot there that like it's going to bring a lot of tourism to that area. And that part of India needs that sort of push for tourism as well. It's a lot of religious sites around. There's Nepal very close by. So there's a lot of sort of history around that area. So it's good to see that getting a lot of coverage.